Hello, we are back with turn 3 of UK Pacific. Germany's already gone as stated in previous rounds. So let's take a look at what transpired here. All steady here on Algeria. Italy did not go in there as they focused on Cairo. And that was a big battle. As you can see here, round 1 casualties and round 2 casualties. And, you know, Britain, they had quite a bit there, aircraft, you know, infantry. So it was a good defense, but it just wasn't enough. Italy was forced, really, to go after these aircraft because there was more aircraft coming from the south, coming from the east, and the fear was if all those aircraft could combine, they would be able to sink that Italian fleet, and then that would be the end of Italy in the Med. So they went after it. They lost all their infantry, but managed to take it, and then Germany came in with some land reinforcements and 2 fighters. So that's pretty solid because I think the British can only really counterattack with this mech and possibly this transport with 2 guys. And I don't think any planes. This one, no, they can't reach. So that would be a pretty weak attack or counterattack in Cairo. On the Asian front, we did have quite a bit of action. Japan took Yunnan with force. They also sent all their aircraft over Yunnan into Szechuan. I don't know why that one was there. You think that in my face. Into Szechuan, where there was these 3 Chinese. They did actually get 1 hit back, so Japan lost a plane. So those are casualties and gone. China counterattacked with a plane and 1 man. And it was mutual destruction, so those are gone. No change of territory there. So, and just some posturing in the middle. There was no attacks by Japan or China other than that 1. But here is the big battle in Amur. And I've left the planes lined up. Those are all the planes that came in, plus this one that was shot down by the anti-aircraft guns. So, you know, they had 6 shots, so that's about average, 1 out of 6, you know, on a 6-sided dice. But here is your first round casualties and your second round. And painful for Japan. They lost a total of 10, but, you know, Russia lost all 18 infantry. But they're all defending it too, so that's why I'm not a big fan of that maneuver. Now, one thing it did do is it kept all the aircraft to the north, and all these infantry are gone now. So that's going to slow down the China China advance. But as I was going to say, these fighters here can fly back to Jihol. 2 fighters, 2 TACs. These 4 are going to land back on the carriers that are, you know, in the Japan sea zone here. And then these 3 planes had 1 movement left because they came from the Shanghai. So, slide all these casualties out of here. And that's what we're left looking at. 2 of the Mongolians moved up north to do some blocking. And then 4 went down into China. Here, there was 1 lone Japanese infantry there, so the 2 attacked, got a hit on the first round, and Japan missed. So Russia helped China out there. Got some more guys coming in this time that I did not move in there last time, so trying to help China make that stand. The other action, Germany declared war on Russia. So quick one in and out with some planes, got that one, and then moved in force into eastern Poland and Bessarabia. And then the Italians are poised to reinforce. Man, struggling here with the speech. They took out the cruiser that was blocking any amphib, so that will cease to be an issue this turn, or next turn, I guess. And they didn't really do it. Oh, they did. They came over here with the planes. No, wait a minute. That was round 2, wasn't it? Britain just never fixed that. They did come down with a bomber. That's what they did, and they bombed the factory there in the Ukraine. Now Russia's going to have to decide to fix it and stick their ground, or just leave it damaged and pull back. So I'll have to look at what the consequences there might be. And I think that is it for the action on round 2. There's the Germany buy that I'll be placing here. And there are only 2. Well, no, I guess they have France factories, but there's no threat to France, so that'll all go there. Mostly what I can get into Berlin. And then the U.S. just, moving stuff around, building up. So, as we come into the cash situation, not a lot's changed. Got ready to cough again. Germany lost the objective for not at war with Russia, but they have units in Egypt, so they got the same amount of objective money. Japan, the USA. Britain still has all its possessions outside of Africa, so they got the 3. Italy picked up 1 national objective. The 3 of 4, where you have Greece, southern France, and Egypt. So, this turn, let me put this on, well, let me show the buys before I put it on there. There's going to be your buys for UK Pacific. Now, this is turn 3, so they, at the beginning of their turn on 3, they can declare war on Japan. So they're going to do that, so we can put all of these units in India, because that factory converts to a major. So that'll help with their relief of China. Hopefully that's their goal. Japan's purchase, Britain will be purchasing a factory for Persia, some units for South Africa, and then Canada, because we're going to have to build up over there because London is still under threat. The sea zone, anyway. Italy is going to build a factory in Egypt right now, because there is no serious counterattack this turn. Next turn, probably not, but in 3 turns they will. So hopefully they'll have a couple turns to build up there. China, well, they're down to $6, and they won't have much this turn either. So Russia going with mostly infantry, because we're probably going to have to try and fortify Leningrad and Moscow, and see, because we're going to try and send troops into China as well. The U.S. by at the end of their turn, they get to declare war, so there'll be no combat action for the U.S. on this turn. But they're setting up for next turn to do something. So let's get into the action. They're going to declare war on Japan. And with that is going to be this battle up here. We'll zoom in a little closer. Alright, so there is, let me get these out of the way, 3 artillery and 2 infantry, so that'll be 5 2s. And then Britain can come in. There's 5, 7, and we're going to send in 1. We're going to leave 1 in Shan State so we don't have a walk-on. So that will be, what did I say, 5. That's 8 infantry, 1 artillery, and these 3 planes. And that will be their attack for this turn. And what am I else thinking here? Yeah, the rest is going to be non-com. So let's get out some dice. So we have 4. We got 1 artillery, so that'll be 1 infantry, 1 artillery on the 2s. So that'll leave 7 at 1. Here's 5. I need to grab these 2 up here in Mongolia. Alright, there's 2 fighters and 1 tactical. So they need 5 hits. What will they get on roll 1? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they wiped out Japan. And that will help China immensely. Japan gets 5 back, so let's see what they get. Only 1. Well, not good for Japan. That's going to leave a lot on the counterattack. So let's scratch those. I'll clean that up here in a bit and remove a chip. And that is what's in there. What is that? 5, 7 infantry and an artillery. The planes will go back. Alright, so non-com. I'll widen this out so you can see more of the action. And whoa, lowered it too much. Sorry about that. It happens. Alright, so I've got this transport. I moved 2 guys over last turn. So we're going to come over into this sea zone here with these 2 guys and land them in Ethiopia, because we got to build a defense line here. I don't need the cruiser because I'm going to back up these British ships into that sea zone. So the cruiser will just head over. This infantry will walk into Persia. Alright, and then as far as India goes, oh, you know what? I've got a transport here. We're going to take an infantry and an artillery, and we'll go 1, 2, 3, and we'll set them in Ethiopia as well. So we got to make a run at getting Africa clear. And the rest of these guys, what is it? 1 guy, 1 artillery, 1 tank. So that's not much of a counterattack. But they can only put 3 there a turn, you know, up until now. Now it's a major factory, so. And on the Australian side, we've got this transport with 2 guys. Gonna come over here, 1, 2, and 3 into Sumatra to get that bonus national objective for having troops or land units on Dutch territories. So I think that will be it for the moves. We're going to send over here in Australia. We're going to move our guys, and I think I'll leave 1 artillery back. We didn't purchase any transports, but there's no Japanese transports in the way, so we'll send 1 fighter. Let's see how far he can go here. 1, 2, 3, 4, because it's an air base 5 on the Sumatra. Alright, so he'll make his way over to India next turn. And as far as the placements go, I can put 10 now in India, so 4 infantry, 1 artillery, and 2 tanks. So maybe those 2 tanks can help with the counterattack on the next turn, unless Japan really doesn't have a lot of forces on that front, so the best they can do is probably wipe out the UK Pacific forces, and left with 1 unit maybe. So, but we'll see how that goes. As far as objectives now, because UK Pacific declared war, they're going to get a 5 spot for Hong Kong, a 5 spot for Malaya, and a 5 spot for infantry or land units in Dutch territory. So 15 extra bucks on top of their 27, yeah, because they don't go up because that goes to China. So that will be it for their turn, and Germany's already gone, so Germany and UK Pacific have gone for turn 3. I'm going to roll out the rest of this action, and we will see you again at UK Pacific turn 4. Well, here we are at turn 4 of Anzac. I keep saying that. I think I'm going to say that forever. UK Pacific. So we're at the halfway point of the game because this is an 8-turn game. So at the halfway point, Axis has picked up 1 victory point, and that is for North Africa. They had to send a transport over here with a unit out of Cairo. I didn't want to take one out of there, but in order to get that victory point before America comes over and prevents it, I had to send that transport over, and pretty sure that that British plane, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, that's a suicide mission for that transport. But for the victory point, well worth it there. So there is a look at the cash and the national objectives on the top. Japan will lose that one this turn because they're at war with the U.S. now officially. Britain lost Malta, so they will lose that one. And I think, well, UK Pacific lost 2 of its 3 and might lose that 3rd one this next turn. So they're on their way to the poorhouse. Right now they're at $17, and I don't see too much way for them to get back into the 20s, but we'll see. And then the U.S. will lose 5 of that 25 when they lose the Philippines, which, with all those transports, that's coming. So let's look at what transpired this turn, and not a lot for the Allies as far as action. We'll go back here to Italy. They sent in 2 planes, took out that everyone else retreated, but France could not retreat because they go after Italy. So that French destroyer went to the bottom, and they hit Algeria with an infantry artillery bomber. Lost 1 infantry, and then, like I said, that was a walk on there for the victory point. And then really in Russia, they're just supporting Germany, sending those troops into Ukraine. Russia chose to back up 1 turn in southern Russia as opposed to try and take on those 2 big armies. And when they did that, the German army split, and you can tell that in turn 5, Leningrad is in grave danger. In the last game, I pulled out of Leningrad, and I don't know if maybe that's not the right move. It kept them from getting to Moscow, so maybe that is the right move. I don't know. We'll see. And then down here, I wanted to mention this air base here that I built in southern France. One of the benefits of that is, I don't know if you recall in the previous game, I staged a bunch of German aircraft, here in Algeria, and that with all the subs that I had scattered when the Allies came over, it was a bloodbath, and that was the end of it for the Allies. So I can still accomplish that from here, 1, 2, 3, so I can still hit 91 and get back. Well, no, I can't. 1, 2, 3. All right. Well, I can get back to Algeria. Not sure why I was thinking I could get that. Oh, the bomber. Well, the bomber could make it anyway. All right. So everything I said about the air base, it's still good and useful because it gets me out of harm's way. Because otherwise, I'd have to land here in Morocco, and if the U.S. lands in Morocco, then I can't do that. So with the air base, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's what I was originally thinking. I don't know why I went down on that other tangent on they can go 6. My bad. All right, so Britain did not fix its factory there because there's no need to. or the air base yet at this point. Building up in Canada to come across with the U.S., building up in South Africa, and in the Middle East. So they've got 2 transports, not full though. Got to make a decision on what to do with that. Most likely Iraq, because Italy I didn't want to weaken Cairo too much, so I couldn't go after Transjordan and everything else that I wanted to, because Malta, I really wanted to get rid of that bonus, that national objective for Britain. But maybe I should have taken Transjordan, and then that tank could have gone in there, and Germany would have had it for a turn, but I think, you know, Britain would have gotten it in a turn or two anyway. So, not too bent out of shape about that. There was another bombing raid on Stalingrad, 4 damage, so it was a pretty poor roll if you roll a 2. So on the other side of the map, since UK Pacific declared war, we sent a sub down to auto kill that transport. I'll get rid of that. Japan took Malaya, Borneo was a walk-on, took Hong Kong, wiped out all the UK Pacific infantry that were there. I think there was 1 artillery, and 1 Japanese survived, and that was due to the fact that I had 250,000 Japanese planes there crashing down on them. Northern China took away those 2 there, so we're chipping away at China. China is bolstered. There's quite a few Russians. I think I have to stop sending Russians to China though, to try and defend Moscow up in the north. Without those troops there, they're spreading out and they're eating up quite a chunk of Russian territory here. And the U.S. Is in the war, but they stayed back just because of the Japanese fleet there. Probably the U.S. would win that, but lose most of their ships, so can't afford to lose everything right off the bat. Got to be careful there. Alright, so with it being the well, let me look at the purchases here. Here's Germany's purchase, which goes on the board here. The sub's going to go into the Med there in southern France, so I got that counterattack ability on the US or British in 91, if that's how it works. Here's the other buys. UK Pacific, that is going to be their big buy of the game. I think they had $43. Next turn they're going to be in the lower 20s, and then, you know, beyond that in the teens. Japan buying 2 factories, so that sucked up a ton of their cash, but they're going to have to get on the stick here if they're going to get China or proceed to Calcutta. Britain, like I said, they're stocking up the South, the Middle East, and Canada, and they're going to be coming here with the rest of the Allies shortly. Italy is a mostly defensive purchase there, getting ready for the U.S. and British counterattacks. And China, it's really that's all they got. Russia doing the same thing, defensive purchase. Going to have to hold Moscow for 4 more turns. And then the U.S., you know, they're on the offense because they have to be. Let's look at, let me get this camera in here. I always do that and it's such a mess. Alright, there we go. I could always edit that out if I remember. So for Anzac, I said it again. I need to get a shock every time I call it Anzac. It's UK Pacific. So the obvious, oh, I didn't bring any markers. Let me grab some markers, because they do get to grab a point. So there's a walk-on into Siam. And I've got these planes. I got 3 planes and 3 ships, but that's really not enough to take out that Japanese fleet, especially since they can take damage on the capital ships. They're at a port. That's a lose, I think, for UK Pacific. So they'll send one guy in there with these 3 planes and hopefully at least kill the artillery. It doesn't really matter if you take the territory. And then we're going to be moving some guys in to counterattack on the next turn. And down here in the south, it will be just nothing. We'll probably wait on the Americans down here and see what they do. So let's go over and roll that one battle. So we had a walk-on. We'll get that out of the way. So that might be the only increase they get for the rest of the game, but we will see. Japan goes down, and what is that? That's going to be a 2 3s, and then a 4 for that tactical being boosted in combined arms. So they just need 1 hit. And they got 3. That's how that works. Alright. So Japan comes back with a defensive roll. See if China gets a point or not. They do. Alright. So we'll take that off. And don't need that there for the moment. Oh, that guy goes in there. That's right. Alright, casualties have been taken, so let's do our non-coms here. I've got these 2 transports that I'm going to come 1, 2 to 79, bring the battleship and the cruiser, and I'm going to leave the destroyer as a blocker. Now the kicker is, do I want, I think I do, I think I want 1 guy, 1 tank, and then I can grab this other guy from Persia and bring them over to Africa for the counterattacks. And I think that's probably going to be the end of UK's Pacific's efforts in Africa. So this, I'll chip that out. So that and that and that will go there. That'll be a walk-on for Japan if they choose. Just going to have to let that go. The Java fighter will fly up to Calcutta. And over here, I had the option of taking a destroyer and auto-killing that, but that's trading 8 points for 7. I probably should do that because otherwise they can take Java with ease. So I'll have to waste. I know I said Australia wasn't doing anything, but I think it's more important to keep Java out of Japan's hands, but that still may not. I don't know. We'll just have to see. Alright, that is the end of their turn. Let me place their purchases. Over here in Australia is going to be an infantry transport, and in India we've got 6 infantry, 2 tanks, and an artillery. And looking around, I guess I do have the option of going towards Japan with those 2 transports if I so desire. At least they're out of harm's way where they're at for the moment. Alright, I think that will be it, and we will see you again on UK Pacific Turn 5.